A ruthless millionaire offers help to a struggling single mom fired from her waitressing job, but when he notices her son's familiar eyes, everything changes, and what happens next will shock everyone. If you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new uploads. Rain pelts against the windows of a run-down diner on the outskirts of town. Inside, Ethan Blake, the 30, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit that contrasts sharply with the worn vinyl booths, sits alone sipping black coffee. His cold blue eyes scan financial reports on his tablet. The bell above the door jingles, but he doesn't look up. He never does. A successful tech entrepreneur worth millions, Ethan has mastered the art of shutting out the world around him. His phone buzzes with messages from his executive team, but even they know better than to expect warmth from their boss. A crash from the back of the diner breaks his concentration. Instinctively irritated, Ethan's head snaps up to see a small boy, Leo, 4, standing frozen beside an overturned trash bin, his wide eyes filling with tears. The restaurant manager storms out from behind the counter, face contorted with rage. "This is the second time this week," he shouts, towering over the trembling child. "I told your mother you can't be back here." Leo's thin shoulders hunch as he tries to make himself smaller, his small hands shaking. Something in the boy's terrified expression catches Ethan's attention, something hauntingly familiar that he can't quite place. Before Ethan can process what he's seeing, a young woman rushes out from the kitchen, still wearing her apron. Clair Johnson, 28, exhausted but beautiful, with determined eyes and hair hastily tied back, positions herself between her son and the manager. "Don't you dare speak to him like that," she says, her voice steady despite her obvious fear. The manager's face reddens. "I've had it with your scheduling problems, Claire. I can't run a business with your kid knocking things over. You're done." He tosses her final paycheck onto the nearest table. "Clear out your locker." The other customers stare into their plates, uncomfortable witnesses to her humiliation. Ethan feels an unexpected jolt of recognition as he watches Claire gather Leo into her arms, whispering reassurances. His coffee cup freezes halfway to his lips as memories flood back, memories he's spent years burying under work and wealth. Claire doesn't notice him as she gathers her son's small backpack, her face a mixture of dignity and desperation. Ethan knows that face. Behind the added years and exhaustion, she is unmistakable. Claire, the girl he'd loved fiercely in college, the girl his family had deemed unworthy of the Blake name, the girl he'd abandoned without explanation 12 years ago. As Claire hurriedly leads Leo toward the exit, the boy trips on his untied shoelace. Claire kneels to help him, and when she rises, her eyes finally meet Ethan's. The recognition is immediate. A flash of shock, then pain, then a careful, deliberate indifference. She straightens her shoulders and walks past his table without acknowledgement. But Ethan can't tear his gaze away from the little boy trailing behind her. Leo turns back once, curious eyes finding Ethan's. The resemblance is subtle, but unmistakable. The shape of his eyes, the set of his jaw. Ethan feels a cold sweat break across his forehead as an impossible thought surfaces. "Wait!" Ethan calls out, pushing back from his table so abruptly that his coffee spills. The other diners turn to stare. Claire pauses at the door, her back still to him, one hand protectively on Leo's shoulder. For a moment Ethan thinks she'll keep walking, but slowly she turns, her expression guarded. "Hello, Ethan," she says, her voice carefully neutral, as if greeting a distant acquaintance rather than the man who shattered her heart. Ethan struggles to find words as his mind races with calculations. Leo's age, the timing of when he last saw Claire, the distinctive Blake family cleft in the child's chin. His world, so carefully constructed, begins to crack around him. Ethan's penthouse apartment overlooks the glittering city below, a kingdom he built from ruthless ambition and emotional detachment. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame a view most people only dream of, but Ethan barely notices it anymore. His living space is immaculate and impersonal. Expensive furniture selected by an interior designer, walls adorned with investment art pieces, not a single photograph or personal memento in sight. The sound of his expensive shoes echoes on marble floors as he paces, phone pressed to his ear. "Cancel tomorrow's meetings?" he instructs his assistant. "All of them." He ends the call and pours himself 2 fingers of scotch, his hand uncharacteristically unsteady. The encounter at the diner has shaken him more than any market crash or corporate takeover ever could. 12 years ago, after graduating college, he'd been an idealistic young man in love with a scholarship student from the wrong side of town. His father's ultimatum had been clear: end things with Claire or lose his place in the family business, his inheritance, everything. He'd chosen ambition over love, telling himself Claire would be better off without him. He never told her he was leaving, just disappeared from her life completely. Ethan stands before the wall of windows, watching his reflections superimposed over the city lights. At 30, he's achieved everything he once thought important. The tech company he founded is valued in the billions. He has more money than he could spend in 3 lifetimes. Business magazines feature him on their covers. Women pursue him for his wealth and status. Yet none of it fills the emptiness inside him. He hasn't had a real connection since Claire. He hasn't wanted one. Work fills his days. Meaningless encounters fill his nights. He tells himself it's enough, but in moments of rare honesty, he knows it's not. His phone pings with a notification, another potential acquisition his team has identified. Usually, this would energize him, the prospect of another conquest, another company to fold into his empire. Tonight, he ignores it. Instead, he finds himself opening a search engine, typing in Clair Johnson and the name of their college. Dozens of results appear, social media accounts set to private, an outdated LinkedIn profile, community college alumni notes. Ethan scrolls until he finds what he's looking for, a local newspaper article from 4 years ago featuring volunteers at a children's hospital. In the background of the group photo, barely visible, is Claire, visibly pregnant. The timing would be right. If Leo is his son, he was conceived just before Ethan walked away. Had Claire known she was pregnant when he left? Had she tried to reach him? He remembers changing his number, blocking her emails, making himself unreachable at his father's insistence. "Clean breaks are kindest," his father had said. Ethan tosses back his scotch, the alcohol burning a path down his throat. He'd believed his father's lie because it was convenient, because it absolved him of responsibility. Now, staring at the evidence on his screen, he's forced to confront the possibility that his clean break may have left a child fatherless. Dawn finds Ethan still awake, his normally ordered mind in chaos. He spent the night researching Claire's life through whatever digital footprints he could find. She never finished her nursing degree. She's worked a series of service jobs. There's no mention of a husband or partner. No father listed on what he could find of Leo's preschool registration. The evidence is circumstantial but compelling. Ethan gazes at his reflection in the bathroom mirror, noting for the first time the features he shares with the frightened boy from the diner. His hand tightens on the edge of the marble sink. If Leo is his son, he's failed him before the child even knew his name. The thought is unbearable. Rain continues to fall as Ethan's luxury SUV crawls through the run-down neighborhood where he's tracked Claire to a dilapidated apartment complex. Paint peels from the walls and security lights flicker unreliably over the parking lot. He's not sure what he's doing here. He hasn't formulated a plan beyond needing to see her again, to confirm or deny his suspicions about Leo. From his parked car, he watches residents coming and going, mostly service workers leaving for early shifts or returning from night work. At 7:15 a.m., Claire emerges, holding Leo's hand as they hurry toward a bus stop, both bundled against the persistent drizzle. Ethan follows on foot, maintaining distance. At the bus stop, he observes their morning routine. Claire kneeling to adjust Leo's jacket, checking his small backpack, whispering something that makes the boy smile despite his obvious tiredness. Their bus arrives, and Ethan slips into his car to follow. 30 minutes later, Claire leaves Leo at a daycare center with a tight hug and what looks like specific instructions to the caregiver. From there, she walks 3 blocks to a coffee shop, donning an apron as she rushes inside, already late for her shift. Ethan remains in his car, watching through the window as she works the counter, her smile professional but tired. Hours pass as Ethan observes the coffee shop, responding to urgent emails on his phone, but unable to tear himself away. He watches Claire work without pause, handling difficult customers with patience he knows he doesn't possess. When her shift ends, she races back to the daycare, collecting Leo just minutes before closing time. They board another bus, this one taking them to a community health clinic. Through the clinic window, Ethan sees Leo being examined by a doctor, Claire's face tense with worry. He can read her lips asking questions, see her counting out cash from a worn wallet for the prescription the doctor writes. Following them back to their apartment complex, Ethan watches Claire struggle to carry groceries, her prescription bag, and Leo's backpack, while holding the boy's hand. When they reach their building, a notice on their door stops Claire cold. Even from a distance, Ethan recognizes an eviction warning. Claire quickly turns Leo away from it, forcing a smile as she unlocks the door. Once inside, with curtains drawn but not quite closed, Ethan glimpses Claire sitting at a small table, head in her hands, shoulders shaking silently while Leo plays with action figures on a worn carpet, oblivious to his mother's distress. The scene awakens something long dormant in Ethan, genuine concern for someone else's suffering. It's uncomfortable, this feeling of powerlessness in the face of another's pain. His instinct is to throw money at the problem. It's always been his solution. But he remembers Claire's pride, her fierce independence. Simply offering financial help would insult her, might even drive her further away. Besides, money alone won't answer the question burning inside him. Is Leo his son? And if he is, what responsibility does Ethan bear for these years of absence? What right does he have to suddenly appear in the boy's life? That night, in his sterile penthouse, Ethan finds himself researching childhood development, diseases common in 4-year-old boys, the impact of financial insecurity on children. The stark contrast between Leo's life and what could have been, what should have been, if Ethan had made different choices, weighs heavily on him. He thinks of his own childhood, privileged but emotionally barren, and wonders which is worse. The question that keeps him awake isn't just whether Leo is his biological son, but whether he, Ethan Blake, cold-hearted CEO who's never cared for anyone but himself, could possibly be worthy of being anyone's father. The following day, Ethan finds himself back at the coffee shop where Claire works. This time, he waits until her shift ends and approaches her outside. "Claire," he says, his normally confident voice unsteady. She tenses but doesn't run. "What do you want, Ethan?" Her direct question cuts through any pretense. He gestures to a bench nearby, and after hesitation, she sits, keeping distance between them. "I saw the eviction notice," he begins. Her eyes flash with anger and humiliation. "You've been watching us?" Ethan realizes his mistake immediately. "I wanted to make sure you were okay after what happened at the diner," he lies, the words feeling hollow even to him. "I don't need your concern," Claire says, rising to leave. "And I'm late to pick up Leo." Desperation makes Ethan blurt out the offer he'd rehearsed. "Let me help you. No strings attached." Claire's laugh is bitter. There are always strings with the Blakes. She starts walking, but Ethan keeps pace. "I'm not my father," he insists. Claire stops abruptly. "No, your father at least had the decency to tell me to my face I wasn't good enough. You just disappeared." The accusation lands like a physical blow. "I was wrong," Ethan admits, the words foreign on his tongue. "But this isn't about us. It's about Leo." At the mention of her son's name, Claire's expression hardens. "Leo is none of your concern." Ethan takes a risk. "Is he mine, Claire?" The question hangs between them, charged and dangerous. Claire's face drains of color, but her voice remains steady. "You gave up any right to ask that question when you walked away without a word 12 years ago." She turns to go, but Ethan gently catches her arm. "Please, I need to know." Claire pulls away from his touch. "What you need doesn't matter to me anymore," she says, her voice low but firm. "Leo has never had a father, and he's doing just fine without one now." The confirmation is implicit in her words, hitting Ethan with the force of a physical blow. "You could have told me," Ethan says, his mind reeling. Claire's eyes flash with suppressed fury. "I tried. For months. Your number was changed. Your emails bounced back. Your doorman had orders not to let me in. Your family told me you wanted nothing to do with me." Each detail is a fresh indictment. Ethan remembers his father's assurances that the girl had moved on, that she understood their relationship had just been a college fling. More lies he'd willingly believed. "I didn't know," he says weakly. Claire's expression is skeptical. "Would it have mattered if you did?" The question hangs unanswered as they reach the daycare center. Leo spots his mother and runs to her, stopping short when he sees Ethan. "Who's that?" he asks, curious rather than frightened. Claire hesitates, then answers simply, "This is Mr. Blake, an old friend." Leo studies Ethan with unnerving intensity, and Ethan feels exposed under the scrutiny of eyes so similar to his own. "Do you like superheroes?" Leo asks unexpectedly. Before Claire can intervene, Ethan kneels to Leo's level. "I do. Who's your favorite?" The simple question lights up Leo's face. "Iron Man, because he makes cool things?" Ethan smiles, genuinely charmed. "I like building things too," he says. For a moment something passes between them, a connection that terrifies and thrills Ethan in equal measure. "We need to go," Claire interrupts, her face tense. Leo waves goodbye to Ethan as Claire hurries him away. Ethan stands frozen, watching them disappear around a corner. The brief interaction with Leo has changed something fundamental inside him. This isn't just about guilt or responsibility anymore. It's about the living, breathing child who might be his son, a boy who loves superheroes and faces challenges no child should have to face. Back in his car, Ethan makes a decision that will alter the course of all their lives. He won't force his way into their lives with demands or legal threats. He'll earn his place, prove himself worthy of being in Leo's life, even if Claire never forgives him for the past. A week passes before Ethan puts his plan into action. Research has shown him that Leo's daycare is desperately underfunded, with broken equipment and insufficient educational materials. Through an anonymous donation, he arranges for a complete renovation and new supplies, including a set of STEM-focused toys he learns are perfect for Leo's age group. The day the new playground equipment is installed, Ethan watches from across the street as Leo's face lights up with excitement. When the daycare director tells the children a secret friend made it all possible, Leo scans the street as if sensing Ethan's presence. Their eyes meet briefly before Ethan steps back into the shadow of a storefront. Claire is no fool. When she arrives to pick up Leo that afternoon and sees the transformation, her suspicious gaze sweeps the area until it lands on Ethan's partially concealed figure. She marches directly to him, fury evident in every line of her body. "What do you think you're doing?" she demands. Ethan meets her gaze steadily. "Helping children who deserve better resources." Claire's eyes narrow. "Don't manipulate my son." Ethan's response is quiet, but firm. "I'm not. The donation was anonymous. No conditions, no expectations." He hesitates, then adds, "But I would like the chance to get to know him. Properly, with your permission." Claire studies him with wary eyes. "Why now, Ethan? After 4 years?" The question is fair, and Ethan struggles with how much truth to reveal. "Because I was wrong before," he finally says, "about everything that mattered, and I can't undo the past, but maybe I can do better now." Claire's laugh holds no humor. "The great Ethan Blake admits he was wrong. That's new." Her bitter tone cuts him, but he doesn't flinch. "I've changed." Claire shakes her head. "People like you don't change. You just find new ways to get what you want." Before Ethan can respond, Leo calls out to his mother, running toward them with a new building block set clutched in his small hands. "Mum, look what the secret friend brought," Leo exclaims, then notices Ethan. Recognition flashes in his eyes. "Hi, Mr. Blake." Ethan smiles, genuinely warmed by the boy's enthusiasm. "Hello, Leo. That's quite a set of blocks you've got there." Leo nods eagerly. "I'm going to build a spaceship." He hesitates, then asks shyly, "Do you want to see it when it's done?" Before Ethan can answer, Claire intervenes. "Leo, honey, Mr. Blake is very busy. He has important work to do." The disappointment on Leo's face is a physical pain in Ethan's chest. "Actually," he says carefully, looking to Claire for permission, "I'd love to see your spaceship sometime." Claire's internal struggle plays across her face. Protection of her son, warring with the recognition that Leo could benefit from a positive male presence in his life. After a long moment, she sighs. "Saturday," she relents. "You can come by for 1 hour. Not our apartment," she adds quickly. "The park near the daycare, 2 o'clock. Leo bounces with excitement, while Ethan tries to contain his own surprising surge of joy. "I'll be there," he promises, meaning it more deeply than any business contract he's ever signed. As Claire leads Leo away, the boy turns back once to wave. Ethan raises his hand in response, a simple gesture that nonetheless feels monumental. That night, Ethan sits in his home office, a space previously dedicated exclusively to building his empire. Now, spread across his desk are books on child development, articles on how to connect with children, and sketches for toys he might build with Leo. His phone rings, his CFO with an urgent acquisition question that would normally command his full attention. "I'll call you back tomorrow," Ethan says, surprising both his CFO and himself. As he returns to his research, Ethan realizes something has shifted. For the first time in years, his company isn't the most important thing in his life. The thought should terrify him, but instead it brings an unfamiliar sense of peace. Saturday arrives with perfect fall weather. Ethan arrives at the park 30 minutes early, nervously carrying a small bag containing building materials for the spaceship Leo had mentioned. He watches families enjoying the playground, fathers pushing children on swings, playing catch, teaching bike riding, all the moments he's missed with Leo. When Claire and Leo finally appear, the boy runs ahead eagerly while Claire hangs back, her body language defensive. "Ground rules," she states without preamble. "No promises you can't keep. No confusing him. No gifts without my permission first." Ethan nods his agreement, understanding her need for boundaries even as he chafes against them. Leo's initial excitement fades when they actually begin building together. He becomes quiet, withdrawn, eyeing Ethan with caution. Ethan's attempts at conversation are met with one-word answers or silence. When Ethan offers suggestions for the spaceship design, Leo shakes his head stubbornly. "That's not how it goes," he insists, dismantling Ethan's contribution. From the bench where she's watching them, Claire's expression is a mixture of concern and vindication. This isn't going as Ethan had hoped. His business success has been built on his ability to win people over, to make them see things his way. But those skills are useless here. Leo isn't a business associate to be impressed or outmaneuvered. "Why don't you have any kids?" Leo asks suddenly, the directness of the question catching Ethan off guard. From the bench, Claire tenses visibly. Ethan considers his answer carefully. "I guess I never thought I'd be very good at being a dad," he admits honestly. Leo studies him with those unsettlingly familiar eyes. "My friend Tyler says dads are supposed to teach you stuff. Could you teach me stuff?" The simple question lodges in Ethan's throat like a stone. What could he possibly teach this child? Corporate takeovers, how to wall off your emotions, how to abandon someone who loves you. "I could try," he finally manages, his voice rough with emotion. Leo's next question is even more direct. "Why don't you like my mom?" Ethan's startled gaze flies to Claire, who looks equally surprised by the question. "What makes you think I don't like your mom?" Ethan asks carefully. Leo shrugs. "She gets mad when I talk about you." The simple observation reveals more than either adult intended. "I like your mum very much," Ethan says, his eyes meeting Claire's across the distance. "We used to be good friends, a long time ago." Leo's brow furrows in confusion. "Then why didn't you visit before?" The innocent question cuts to the heart of Ethan's guilt. "Because I made a mistake." he says simply. A big one. Leo considers this, his small face serious. Mom says when you make a mistake, you have to say sorry and try to fix it. His matter-of-fact repetition of Claire's parenting wisdom strikes Ethan like a physical blow. How many times had Leo himself heard these words after childish mistakes? How many times had Claire reinforced this basic moral principle that Ethan, with all his education and success, had failed to grasp? Your mom is right, Ethan says, his voice thick. That's what I'm trying to do now. Leo nods, accepting this with the simple logic of childhood, then returns to his spaceship. But something has shifted between them, a tiny opening in the wall of Leo's wariness. When their hour together ends, Leo surprises both adults by asking, "Can Mr. Blake come again next week?" Claire hesitates, her protective instincts visibly warring with her son's obvious desire. "We'll see," she says finally, a non-answer that Leo accepts with the resignation of a child used to disappointment. As they prepare to leave, Leo impulsively hands Ethan the partially completed spaceship. "You can help me finish it next time," he says, the words both a gift and a question. Ethan accepts the fragile creation with careful hands. "I'd like that very much," he says, meeting Claire's gaze over Leo's head. Her expression remains guarded, but the outright hostility has softened to cautious observation. The next week brings no word from Claire about another meeting. Ethan respects her boundaries, fighting his instinct to push or manipulate the situation. Instead, he focuses on indirect support. When he learns through discreet inquiry that the community health clinic where Leo receives treatment is struggling financially, he arranges an anonymous donation specifically earmarked for pediatric care. When the coffee shop where Claire works faces closure, a mysterious new investor provides capital to keep it running, with the condition that all current staff retain their positions with improved benefits. He's careful to keep his name out of these arrangements, understanding that Claire's pride would reject direct help. 2 weeks after their park meeting, Ethan's assistant informs him that a woman and child are waiting in the reception area of his corporate headquarters. Heart-pounding, Ethan finds Claire and Leo in the sleek lobby, looking out of place among the glass and chrome. Leo clutches the unfinished spaceship, his face lighting up when he spots Ethan. Claire's expression is complex, reluctance mingled with resignation. "Leo hasn't stopped talking about finishing this with you," she explains simply. Ethan invites them to a conference room repurposed with building materials he'd hoped might one day be useful. Leo dives in eagerly, while Claire stands apart, arms crossed defensively over her chest. "I know what you've been doing," Claire says quietly, while Leo is absorbed in his building. Ethan doesn't pretend to misunderstand. "I'm just trying to help," he responds. Claire's eyes are sharp. "Help or ease your conscience?" The accusation stings because it contains truth. "Maybe both," Ethan admits. "Does it matter if the result is good?" Claire studies him, her expression softening fractionally. "It matters to me. I need to know if this is just about guilt or if you're genuinely interested in being part of Leo's life long term." The question demands honesty Ethan isn't sure he's capable of. "I don't know what kind of father I'd be," he confesses, "but I want the chance to find out." Their conversation is interrupted by Leo's proud announcement that the spaceship is complete. Both adults move to admire his creation, their shared focus on the child creating a momentary bridge between them. Leo beams under their praise, then asks innocently, "Can we do this again?" Claire and Ethan exchange glances, a silent negotiation passing between them. "Mr. Blake is very busy," Claire begins, but Ethan interrupts gently. "Never too busy for this," he says, the simple statement a promise to both Leo and himself. Later, walking them to the elevator, Ethan asks Claire if they might establish a regular time to meet. To his surprise, she agrees. "Saturdays," she says, "same time, for Leo's sake." The weekly meetings become a ritual. Each Saturday, Ethan learns more about the son he never knew he had. Leo's interest in space and engineering, his fear of thunderstorms, his kindness to smaller children at the playground, his stubborn determination when faced with a challenge. Gradually, Leo's initial wariness transforms into tentative trust. He begins asking for Ethan's help with projects, seeking his opinion, sharing small confidences about school and friends. Ethan treasures each revelation, each tiny step forward. He finds himself planning his week around their Saturday afternoons, declining business trips that would interfere, rescheduling meetings to ensure he's never late. Claire observes this evolution with cautious eyes. She still maintains her distance, still insists on being present for every interaction, but her rigid posture has softened. Sometimes, watching Leo and Ethan build together or discussing a book they've shared, Ethan catches an expression on her face that isn't quite forgiveness, but might be the beginning of understanding. One Saturday, as they watch Leo on the swings, Claire speaks without looking at Ethan. "He has your eyes," she says simply. It's the first time she's acknowledged what they both know, and your compassion. Ethan responds quietly. "You've done an amazing job with him, Claire." She accepts the compliment with a slight nod, her eyes never leaving her son. 3 months into their tentative arrangement, disaster strikes. Ethan arrives at the park to find only Claire waiting, her face drawn with worry. "Leo's sick," she explains. "Nothing serious, just a cold, but he didn't want you to come to the apartment and see him all gross and snotty." The childish vanity makes Ethan smile despite his disappointment. They sit awkwardly on the bench, the first time they've been alone together since their reunion. After several minutes of stilted conversation about Leo's school progress, Claire unexpectedly asks, "Why did you really leave, Ethan?" The whole truth this time. The directness of the question catches him off guard, but he owes her honesty. "My father threatened to disinherit me if I stayed with you," Ethan admits, the words bitter even after 12 years. "He said someone from your background would hold me back, that you were using me to climb socially." Claire's laugh is hollow. "And you believed him." It's not a question. Ethan stares at his hands. "I was young and ambitious and terrified of disappointing him. I convinced myself I was doing what was best for both of us." The excuse sounds pathetic to his own ears. "But you didn't even say goodbye," Claire says, the hurt still raw in her voice. "You just disappeared from my life completely." "I was a coward," Ethan acknowledges. "I couldn't face you because I knew if I did, I wouldn't be able to go through with it." He hesitates, then adds, "When did you find out about Leo?" Claire's eyes grow distant with memory. 2 weeks after you left. "I tried to tell you. I called, I emailed, I even went to your family's house. Each word is an indictment. Your father met me at the door. He said you wanted nothing to do with me or any supposed child I might be carrying." The cruelty of his father's words hits Ethan like a physical blow. "I never knew," he whispers. "I swear to you, Claire, I never knew." "Would it have changed anything if you had?" Claire asks, the question she's been holding back for years. Ethan wants to say yes immediately, to claim he would have chosen her and their child over his ambition, but he owes her truth, not comforting lies. "I don't know," he admits finally. "The person I was then, I was so focused on proving myself, on building something significant. I'd like to think I would have done the right thing, but—" He trails off, unable to complete the thought. Claire's nod acknowledges his honesty, painful as it is. "At least you're not lying to me anymore," she says quietly. "That's something." As they prepare to leave, Claire reaches into her bag and pulls out a folded paper. "Leo made this for you. He was very specific that I should give it to you." Ethan unfolds the paper to find a child's drawing of 3 stick figures holding hands, a tall male figure, a female figure, and between them a small boy. Above the drawing, in Leo's uneven handwriting, "My family." Ethan stares at the simple image, emotion closing his throat. "He's never had a father figure before," Claire says softly. "Be careful with his heart, Ethan. It's more fragile than you know." The trust implicit in her warning humbles him more than any business success ever has. At home that evening, Ethan can't stop looking at Leo's drawing. He places it on his refrigerator, the childish artwork incongruous against the sleek stainless steel. As he studies the 3 figures holding hands, a memory surfaces, his father showing him a Blake family portrait from generations ago, pointing out the distinctive cleft chin that appeared in every male descendant. "Blake men always bear the mark," his father had said proudly. "It's in our blood." Ethan rushes to his computer, pulling up the few photos he has of Leo, zooming in on the boy's face. There it is, subtle but unmistakable, the same cleft chin that has marked Blake men for generations. But as he studies the image closer, he notices something else, a small birthmark behind Leo's right ear, barely visible where his hair curls. Ethan's hand instinctively rises to touch the matching mark on his own skin, hidden in the same spot. This isn't just family resemblance, it's irrefutable proof. Leo isn't just possibly his son. Leo is, without question, his child. What would you do if you found out you had a child you never knew existed? If you were in Ethan's shoes, would you tell the truth? Let us know in the comments below.